Hello. In this video, we're going to go over creating Docker images and then getting the Docker images to be able to talk to each other using Docker Compose. Ooh. Okay, so this is a problem I recently had when I was just messing around with some projects. What we're going to do is I'm going to show you the back end of a sample code project I've just come up with and the front end. I will show you that they work together, and then we'll put them in Docker images, and then we'll put them in a Docker Compose file, and we'll get them all running in a nice little Docker network. It'll be really fun. So I have three sort of projects. I have an infrastructure project. All that's going to contain is a Docker Compose file at the moment. It contains nothing at the moment. We are going to have the backend service that's in Java Spring Boot. Now, I should point out for this video, I'm not going to go through creating the backend service and the front end service because I'm going to assume you've already created a backend service and a front end service that you want them to talk to each other with. If you haven't, you can just follow along with this sort of and see what's going off. It's quite simple because they're very, very simple projects. So let's have a look. We've got the Java project over here. It's Spring Boot, like I say. The thing to notice here is that we've got this controller class, so that when we go to post /post/test, we will get this JSON response that has a body that's got hello world in it and that's got a title of hello. So that's what we're going to get back when we call this endpoint. I've got this little cross-origin annotation here just so that Angular allows the connection between the Angular project and the Java project works all fine. And because you've got this thing called cross-origin scripting, I'm getting off topic, doesn't matter. This will make things work. So if we were to run this right now, I'm going to assume it's going to work. It's going to work. I'm 99% sure of it, but anyone who's seen my videos knows that nothing works first try. So yeah, looks like it's working fine. So if I quickly navigate to Google Chrome and refresh that page, and you can see here that we've got that exact thing here. We've got the JSON, we've got a timestamp. If I was to refresh this page, we would expect the timestamp to change. Oh, and it does. There we go. That's cool because it's basically just being created every time we run the endpoint. So that's fine. So that's the backend project. There's not really much to it. It's got an idea of what a post object is and what a comment object is. This is just me messing about, nothing special here. So we're going to keep that running for a second and then we'll go over to Visual Studio Code. This is just a basic Angular project. All it has is it's basically the standard setup for an Angular project, and it just will call that backend that we've just seen over here, and it will post that to a homepage. It's really nothing special, just sort of so you see what's going off here. Okay, so let's go. Oh, put next there, shouldn't do that. Let's go to the terminal and we'll start that project. So ng serve, like that. That's going to do some stuff and it's going to start running. We'll take a few seconds to compile. I'm going to skip the video while that compiles. Bing bong bing, through the magic of editing, we've now compiled that. In fact, it probably took me longer to say bing bong bing than it did for us to just watch it compile. So I don't know why I did that. Oh well. Right, so that's running now. So if we go back to Google Chrome, we've got the backend running. Check that, it's still running. Refresh the page. It's still running. We can see the timestamp changing. Come over to here. So Angular projects by default run on localhost port 4200. Refresh that page and we can see it says hello world. So that's what this Angular project is doing, and this is calling the backend. Okay, so for example, if we were to just go over to IntelliJ, stop the backend, come back to Chrome, refresh it. Oh no, it can't be reached. Come back over here, we're going to see that nothing displays apart from one dot because there's a list in there that's not being populated. But yeah, so that's them working, those two services working, talking to each other outside of a Docker container. So now let's go ahead and create them in Docker containers. So the first thing we need to do is we need to create some images. So going back to our terminal, let's go to the back end. We'll have a goosey gander over here. And if I go to the source, like that, Let's come back actually over here. We're going to create a Dockerfile. Dockerfile, capital D. Quite important that you put a capital D, otherwise it won't work. So what a Dockerfile is just going to basically give us a load of instructions to actually build an image of our project. So in this case, we are going to be running it from Alpine 3.11.3. I think that might work. It might not work. Oh well. What that is, that's the base image. That's what we build our image upon. And then we want the JDK. So that's the Java Development Kit. And we want 11 because I'm running Java 11. Then we need to add some arguments. So the Java file that we're going to be looking for is going to be equal to the target. And it's going to be / anything.jar. You probably wouldn't do this if you're doing production. You probably do things a little bit better than this. This is just, again, a quick example of creating the Docker images. Okay. Then we want to copy that jar file to app.jar. We want to expose a port. I'm going to expose port 88C like this. And we want to give an entry point so that we can actually run our program. And the entry point is going to be like this, Java, and then -jar, and then we're going to run that app.jar. Cool. That's all we really need to do to get that one working. So let's save it. Okay, so now we've got a Docker file. What we can do is we can build that Docker image. So let's just have a look at the images I've got already. So we can say Docker images. And we can see we've got the OpenJDK one, we've got Node, and we've got the OpenJDK 8. So if I was to now say Docker build -t, we're going to call this, I don't want to call it Reddit client, I want to call it Reddit backend. Dot, and then dot at the end just to say this is the working directory. So we're going to give it a tag, so build, give it a tag, and then we're going to get it from current working directory like that. Press that, it's going to start doing some building. This might take some time because it's going to have to download things from the Docker registry. Is it called the registry? I can't remember. It's called something like that. For now, quickly go back to Docker images. Like that. We can now see we have this new one up here. It's got an image ID. It's been created 7 seconds ago. It's got that size. We've got that repository. It's also got the tag latest. One thing you should do at this point is you should give it another tag because it's a bit annoying sometimes when you're doing when we're doing Docker Compose. Sometimes it just doesn't like using local tags that we've created, local images that we've created. So what I found to work is to say Docker tag and then give it your tag, and it might actually be the exact same tag you want to give it. So, for example, the one we gave when we built it, should I say. Christ, I couldn't speak then. What the hell was wrong with me? Then you can pass in the image ID like that, give it a tag, and then just say Docker images again. And we'll see that there's one I've tagged wrong. Bloody hell. I've put it backwards. Some of you probably saw me doing that. So E2. E2, by the way, I'm just getting it from the image ID because there's nothing else that says E2. Apart from this one, it's exactly the same image, so it doesn't really matter. But sometimes you'll have to use full image ID. But we can say E2, and then we can say Reddit backend /dev. Cool, and then we'll say Docker images. Oh my god. Yep, cool. And we're looking for that one. It's the same one. It's just to make sure that it actually does tag it correctly, because sometimes, like I say, with using Docker Compose, it doesn't like using local images, or at least that's what I found. Okay, so we're going to stop that Anglia project right now, and what we're going to do instead, let me just start that again because I think I didn't shut it down correctly. That's fine. Okay, so now we need to create a Docker file as well. This time we're going to create it for the Angular project. So again, same sort of thing. We're going to give it the base image of node 12.2.0, And we'll set the working directory. So work dir, oh my god, is equal to /app. Yes. Then we want to add our node modules to the path. So we can say env path app /node modules .bin, and then do this. So now I've added that to the path. Ah, spelled it wrong. Creme de menthe. Coming back. Then we want to install all of our dependencies. So we can say copy package.json /app. Oh my god. Package.json. So that copies it to the image itself. Then we can say run npm install. And we also want to install the Angular client. So we can say, oh my god, run npm install -g for global at Angular CLI, and then I want version 3.9, 7.3.9. That's the one I want. Then we want all of that to be /app. Then you want to say command ng-serve, and now that normally is sufficient if you just said ng-serve, but because we're running this in Docker Compose, another thing you're going to want to do here is say --host 0.0.0.0. Even though that's exactly the same as localhost, Docker Compose doesn't like just using it normally, so do this and it will work. Okay, cool. Save that, and let's build that. So we can say docker build -t, and we'll say Reddit client /dev dot. This one normally takes I have made an egregious error. I put the Dockerfile in the wrong place. I need to put it in the root of the directory. So we're going to say mv. Whoops. Christ, he can't type. .. Like that. I have a feeling that's still wrong. Oh well, we'll try again. It might work this time. Might not. Yes, it's working. Yes. Okay, so I had it in the wrong directory. Didn't have it I had it in source. I should have had it in the normal root of the project. Okay, it's kicking off about something not being maintained anymore. Oh well. That one's just going to take a while to build. So while we're at it, let's go ahead and go to the infrastructure project. That's where we're going to create what's known as a Docker Compose file. That's so we can compose many services together, many images together to create a lovely little stack. So let's go ahead and create that. That's going to be called docker-compose.yaml. You could also do YAML with an A, depending on if you're feeling fruity or not. Do that. And let's go ahead and create that. So the first thing you need is a version. In this case, version 3 should be fine. Then we'll define our services. YAML, by the way, stands for yet another markdown language. So this is just a sort of markdown language we're writing in, as you would expect. We're going to define a backend service, and we're going to give it the image that we just created, that Reddit backend-dev, like that. We're going to expose some. We're going to do a port mapping, sorry, of port 8080 to 8080. So that's the. I'm going to get this the wrong way around. It's the host port to the container port. Host port, container port. Yes, I am right actually about that. That's right. And that's dead simple. So then we can just say we want to make a service called client, and guess what? We're going to give that the image of the client. So we'll say Reddit client /dev. Again, ports. So for this one, I could say, for example, I could do 80 to 4200, and that would work. And that would mean that when you just load localhost, you didn't have to put a port at the end of it, so it would just work because web browsers typically work on port 80 fact, every website works on port 80. That's why you don't have to put port 80. It's the default port. But I'm going to be putting 4200 only for the reason that the thing I mentioned earlier about the cross-origin thing I've put in my Reddit backend, the backend service. So that's all we need to do. And actually, this is all we need to do for this file. So let's save that. We'll have a goosey gander over here, and we can see that we've actually successfully built this. I'm just going to do this thing I did earlier and tag this again, just to be doubly sure that the Docker Compose picks it up. So I'm going to say Docker tag, like that. Whoops, I've done that wrong. I know the image ID is there. I just want to double check this. I always double check with Docker. So we'll do Docker tag. Instead of passing it E2, we're going to pass it, I don't even know why I did that. Just do it like this, 39, and we'll pass it Reddit client/dev, like that. Okay, cool. The next thing we need to do here is let's check if we've got any running containers, because I don't think we have any. Docker PS, we've got no running containers. So let's say Docker compose up. In the same, what have I done wrong there? We've made an error. Okay, let's have a gander. What was it moaning about? I didn't pay attention. This always happens. Creme de menthe. Line. I think I see what the problem is. I don't see what the problem is. What is it moaning at? Why is it moaning? I have no idea. Line 8, it's kicking off about something. I don't know why. Ugh. Oh my god, why? Why are you moaning like this? This is ridiculous. Okay, I'm back ever so slightly because I couldn't figure out what the problem was. I think it's something to do with Vim's spacing or something like that. So if we try and run this now, it should work. And what we're going to see is it's going to find some error because it can't find the images. That's what it's going to do to begin with. So we'll run that. Oh, look at that. It can't find the images. It's trying to recreate some stuff. No such image, no such image. Do you want to create a new image? Yes, we want to create a new image. Okay, so it's going to recreate those now. It might take a bit of time, so that's working. We haven't run this in detached mode as well, so that's why we can see all the output like we were just running the services normally. And you can see that what we've got here is we've got the backend running. I've also got the client running as well. So if we go back over to Chrome, we will see nothing because I haven't refreshed the page yet. So I'll refresh this one and we'll have a look. And look at that. We are seeing that this is working correctly. We'll go over to IntelliJ. That isn't running at the moment, so it's running in the Docker container, in the actual stack we've got built up. And if we have a look over here, we should see that it is working. It's working in the containers. The containers are now talking to each other. Wonderful. So there's a couple extra things just to quickly show you. So go back to the terminal. Let us stop that. I don't think I shut that down correctly. So if we go Docker PS, we can see that we have 2 containers running. So if I say Docker container stop and say 3EE, like that. Is that the one that takes ages? Yeah, the client takes ages to shut down. For some reason, because it's so big, I think that's the reason it takes a while to shut down. It's going to take some time. Okay, and we'll do the same thing again. And we'll just do 11. Like that. Cool. So if we run Docker PS again, we have nothing running. Go back to Chrome. Oh, look at that. Nothing's running. Okay. So the thing I also want to quickly show you is if we say Docker compose, up, and we add the -d flag for detached mode, what's going to happen now is instead of seeing all this output, it's just going to run it in the background. So we'll do that. Ooh, it will tell us it's starting some stuff, and that's all it will tell us. And now if I were to say Docker PS again, we can see those 2 containers are back up. New ones have been created. So what we can now do, go back to Chrome again, have a look. That's working. Front end's working as well. All done. Wonderful. So, hopefully you found that interesting. I did go over what I had set up in the projects just so you could sort of see. I would expect if you've been watching this video that you would already have projects set up that you wanted to connect to each other and talk to each other. I just want to show you how simple this actually is to do. So now you can see how easy it is to use Docker Compose to get containers to talk to each other. Thank you very much.